Hello guys, welcome back to another video. We are going to be previewing Season 6, Week 1 of Dana White's Contender Series. We have 4 matches for this card, or 4 fights for this card. One of them got canceled because Farid Basharat versus William Souza got canceled because Souza missed like 10 pounds of weight, which is absolutely ridiculous. So we will not see that fight on the card. But yes, we'll start directly from the first fight on the card to the last one. We're going to be starting with Alessandro Costa versus Andres Luna Martinetti. Costa has some good power and has some nice scrambles. By the way, this breakdown is going to be all over the place for this fight because, in all honesty, Alessandro Costa has some better opponents he's fought than Martinetti, and obviously because this is off of the amateurs and other promotions, they don't exactly have the fight footage out there. I think Lux Fight League is partnered with Fight Pass, so I was able to watch some of those fights. But yes, some of the fights on this card, I wasn't able to get full information on because of the lack of camera footage and on the fights that I actually needed to see. So yeah. Not particularly in this fight, but in other fights. So let's just get into it. Costa does have some good power and some nice scrambles. I think I already said that. But he also has some nice judo throws that I noticed in a couple of his fights. Yeah. And some of the opponents he has beaten, a 10-2 Kike Gonzalez, a 12-5 Jorge Calvo Martin, by ground and pound, both of them. And yeah, that's what I have for him. There wasn't much here. But yeah, his opponent, Martinetti, not much information here. Fought a lot of, I don't want to say cans, but pretty much cans. He has some good power, good jiu-jitsu, and can wrestle a little bit and is a good counter puncher. He's like very movie athletic when he throws and stuff like that. What I have down here is Costa did fight some better comp, and Martinetti hasn't been tested quite yet. Going off of their TKO submissions and decisions, Martinetti does have 2 KOs in his career, 6 submissions and 4 decisions. For Costa, he has 2 KOs. Did I just read this? What the hell? Okay, he has 2 KOs, 6 submissions, and 2 decisions. So yeah. For this fight, I'm gonna be predicting. I'm gonna be predicting it to Costa just because he's fought a lot harder competition here. This isn't extremely high level, but it should be a good test for Andres Luna Martinetti. But we'll see. A lot of these fights are pretty unpredictable sometimes because of the competition and the fact that we don't have like a big historical footage and testing that they take, like who they get tested by. Not like freaking drug test wise, but like fighter wise. We don't have historical access to some of the video. But I'm just going to go with the guy who has fought some harder competition in his career, and I'm just going to go Costa at this point. So yeah, moving on to the next fight on the card, we have Dennis Buzukja, which is a great name, and Dennis the Great Buzukja, which is even better, and then Kaleio Romero. So for this fight, Buzukja has already fought in the Contender Series. I believe he did lose this fight in the Contender Series. He kind of like ran out of breath pretty fast. He gassed a little bit, probably because of the body shots from Melzik Baghdasarin. And if I said that right, that would be wonderful if I didn't. But yeah, had a weird gas tank in that fight. He does have solid stand-up. But yeah, some of the opponents he has beaten since he lost that first Contender Series matchup. He beat Shaquan Moore 1-2, which isn't too great. I could barely find any footage on this guy. Fight Pass only had Ring of Combat up to like 71 or whatever, so I couldn't find anything good on him after his Contender Series fight. He fought Michael Lawrence, who was 7-5, KO'd him, and then 6-4 Joshua Roller, who he beat by unanimous decision. In his career, he has gotten let's see what we got. 3 KOs and 4 decisions, which is all right. Isn't too flashy, but it's all right. And then for Kaleio Romero, Romero is very patient in the stand-up. Kind of just sits there and likes to counterpunch, picks and chooses shots. These aren't too great of prospects, but I think I will go with Buzukja in this fight. I haven't been using my check mark at all, but we're going to use it now. I'm going to go with Buzukja. I'm just going to run through Romero's fighters he fought first. This is kind of unorganized. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. He beat Andy Perez by KO in his last 3. Andy Perez 7-12. Israel Delgado 2-2. Lost to Jonas Flock 11-3. Brian O'Neill 2-2. Like, these aren't great opponents. He lost to 11-3 Ryan Flock, or Jonas Flock, which is a pretty good record to fight against. He has 2 KOs, 3 submissions, and 1 decision on his record. So yeah, it does seem like Buzukja has been more tested here. Romero does have insanely good. Where am I at on my notes? It's such a mess. But yeah, I think I'm going to choose Buzukja here. He has stronger hands. I will expect him to beat Romero. I think because Romero's so patient on the feet, I think Buzukja will probably have his way in the fight. Yeah, that's what I have. Buzukja is the -215 favorite according to Tapology, and Romero is a +175 underdog. So yeah, moving on to the next fight on the card. We have Anton Turkalj and Acácio dos Santos. I'm not gonna get through rankings, but we'll get through it. Anton, I want to say this name right. Anton Turkalj choked out an 8-0 Ibo Aslan. Let me run through Tapology right here. Ibo Aslan 8-0. Konstantin Soldatov 5-1, who he beat pretty quickly with a spinning back fist. Anton is pretty freaking wild on the feet when he fights. He's fought some really good record opponents. When he's fought Alexander Gustafsson in a wrestling fight, or not wrestling fight, but in a grappling fight. It sounds kind of weird when I say wrestling fight. But yeah, he takes a lot of risks and is super wild on the feet. Will put an insane pressure on you when he fights. 6-4, a very big dude. Yeah, but let's go on to Acácio dos Santos. This is a very interesting fight, by the way. Dos Santos last 3 fights, 14-4. He beat a 14-4 Marcos Brigagio. That's how you say it, by unanimous decision. Wrestled, grappled Gilton Almeida. He lost that, and then won against Carlos Felipe in grappling. Avenged his fight against Marcos Brigagio. He lost to him previously due to an injury after the first round, and then beat a 14-8 Taiga Moreira. But I noticed in one of his fights, I believe maybe this is a different person I'm looking at, but one of his fights, let's see if I can find it. I can't find it. But yeah. So for Dos Santos, he has, let's see. He has 6 KOs and 8 decisions, which is a little iffy. 8 decisions is quite a bit. I think Anton Turkalj will be able to get him out pretty relatively quickly. I think that pressure is going to be pretty crazy for him. Get him out soon. He's just going to run in and just knock him out. I'm a little worried about Turkalj because after the first round, it does get a little worrying. Dos Santos does have some pretty solid cardio from what I've seen in his fights. He has multiple decisions. For Anton, he has 5 KOs and 2 submissions, so he's never seen a decision in his life for his professional career. But he's fought some pretty tough opponents, taking him out pretty early. So yeah, I'm going to go with Anton here. But if Dos Santos can survive the first round and a half, I can see it going Dos Santos' way, but Anton is pretty good. He pressures quite a bit. Wild man out there will just keep throwing and throwing. His name is the Pleasure Man, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, he throws quite a bit. Could knock out Dos Santos or could finish him by submission like he did Ivan Aslan, because he just puts on such a big pressure at the beginning, just rushes in. I can see Dos Santos making a mistake somewhere in there. But yeah, should be an interesting fight. Should be relatively finished early, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll move on to the next fight on the card. We have Ozzy Diaz versus Joseph Pyfer. This fight is very interesting. In my opinion, a lot of people are siding with Diaz in this fight, who is, I believe, an underdog. Not an underdog, but this is near even. He's not as big of a favorite as Pyfer, if you were to say that, according to Tapology here. But a lot of people are siding with Diaz, 82% to 18% for Pyfer, which I think is a little interesting. I'm not too sold on that, but Diaz does have some really good power in his hands. The last 3 opponents were Bruno Assis, 12-5, finished by punches. Moses Murrieta, 9-5 by KO. Logan Woods, 3-0 by punches in the first round. So yeah, he does get his guys out there pretty early, or finishes them pretty early. Has 5 KOs and 2 submissions, so no decisions on his record, his professional record at least. But yeah, he has some really good power in his hands. Doesn't throw too often. I noticed in the Assis fight that he had recently, Assis would just go forward before him, would walk forward, would pressure him a little bit, and Ozzy Diaz was getting hit like a lot, but was like kind of countering at the same time. But Assis was putting a little bit of pressure on him and made him uncomfortable in there quite a bit. But for Joseph Pyfer, he does train out of Philadelphia with Renzo Gracie, with like Sean Brady, Andre Petrosky, who are in the UFC already. His last fight he did have in, not his last fight, but like the fight before, he was in the Contender Series. The last time out in 2020, he had an arm injury where he got slammed by Stoltzfus. Broke his arm. It was pretty, I think it broke his arm or his elbow or something. It was pretty disgusting. But yeah, after that, he fought a 3-0 Austin Trotman and hit him with a right hook in the second round. KO'd him. For Pyfer, he has 5 KOs, 2 submissions, and 1 decision. So, yeah, his competition is relatively solid. Recently, he's fought some competition. He has lost to Jahonovan Pati at 5-3. He's jumped between promotions here. Some of these I can't not find and watch, so it's a little rough looking these up. Same with the last fight. The last fight was pretty freaking annoying to find. But yeah, for Pyfer, he does go forward. He does pressure a little bit. In his fight against Dustin Stoltzfus, I don't think it's as much. Stoltzfus does have a little bit of is a solid grappler himself, so maybe that was the issue there. But when Pyfer puts on the pressure, I think he could make Ozzy Diaz make a couple mistakes. He's got to punch first, though. Pyfer does have some decent power in his hands. He might be able to get out Diaz early. Not early, but I think this fight would probably end in a finish either way for either person. Pyfer could get him out maybe second and third round after he connects more on Ozzy Diaz. But Ozzy Diaz has some really, I don't want to say one punch KO power, but if you get hit with them 9 out of 10 times, you'll probably go down. I don't know if maybe he does. Actually, now thinking about it, he probably does have one, not like flatline power, but he'll drop you if you act stupid in there. But a lot of people are going to Ozzy Diaz. I think Pyfer has a really solid chance in this fight. If he pressures and goes forward, if he doesn't, Ozzy Diaz will win. He has some great power. But yeah, I don't know who to go with here. Diaz is 31 years old and Pyfer is 25. I think I want to go with Pyfer, but Diaz is really good. I would edge this to Pyfer a little bit because he does pressure quite a bit. But Diaz does have a really good chance of winning this. I'd give this, in my brain, 55-45 or 50-50 kind of. Yeah, but I do edge this to Pyfer a little bit. And yeah, that's who I'm predicting there. I hope you guys enjoyed. I didn't put the arrow right on the first one. I am choosing Alessandro Costa. But if you did enjoy, like, comment, subscribe. Sorry, this one was a little off. I had a hard time with my notes because freaking couldn't find any tape anywhere. Had to do some research, some like comment sections after the fight that did happen, just detailing what happened kind of thing. Like I was reading it out of like some kind of freaking simulation thing, and I had to read like what actually happened in the fight. It's just weird stuff. Really hard to look up. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.